Okay. We'll start in the chair. Make sure that your feet are comfortably rooted down onto the floor. You may even place a blanket under the feet to lift the chair up. My chair is a little bit high, so that way I'm not straining. And then you might kind of move around a little bit, feel the connection of the thighs pressing down into your chair. Draw the shoulders up and down onto the back. Let's do this a few more times. Breathe in. You might even have a cleansing breath, and exhale. Roll the shoulders down and back. One more. Breathing in. Exhale. Let it go. And now begin to move the hands onto the legs. You might pat if that feels good, or you could rub the legs. Wake up the cells, wake up the muscles in your bones. Maybe even making these circular movements around the knees. We'll be working a little bit with the joints today. And then maybe even down on the lower legs. Again, if it feels right, patting or sweeping the legs. And then come back up. Begin to lift your heels, come onto the toes, the balls of the feet, lower back down, and then lift the toes as you press into the heels. Up and down, your own rhythm. Everything I share with you in our class today is invitational. You do what feels the best in your body. There's no right or wrong way to do this, as long as you listen to the cues. Listen to your body, the cues of your body. And now take the knees and bring them a little bit closer together and circle the knees. Your hands can be on the knees here. We're doing just a little bit of movement before we come into a moment of stillness and meditation. Move the knees the opposite direction. And then back to the center, root down in your feet. Your seat is rooted, shoulders up and down onto the back. Hands can rest on the legs. Perhaps you bring the thumb and index finger together, this gesture of union. This is a signal, a sign of yoga, a gesture of yoga, breath to body. And you may look down towards the floor or close your eyes. And begin to sense into the body from the soles of your feet. Draw your awareness up to your knees, your thighs, your pelvis. Notice your fingertips, the thumb and index finger touching. Your hands. Notice the warmth or coolness in the palm of the hands touching the legs. Now bring awareness up to the elbows, up to the shoulders, the back of the shoulders. You may visualize and sense your whole spine from your pelvis all the way up to the back of your neck, the back of your head, the top of your head. Notice both eyes. They begin to relax and soften. The space between your eyes, your nose, your mouth, the jaw unclenched. Notice the collarbones, your heart, your abdomen, and the navel. Sense in the whole body now, from your feet, rise up to the top of your head and exhale down the body through the feet. Notice your breath. How are you breathing? Do you notice any little pauses? And can you slow the breath down? in and out through your nose. You could place one hand on the belly, the other on the upper chest and the collarbones, connecting with your diaphragmatic breath. You breathe in the lower belly, the navel naturally is drawing out. It's not forced as the breath rises up. You begin to sense it into the upper chest, collarbones. And exhale, the navel gently draws inward. This is a contraction of the low and pelvic abdominal muscles. Breathing in, breathing out. If the eyes are closed, you can start to open them up. You can release the hands down. We're going to do a little bit of a movement meditation with our breath. Sweeping the hands down and up, breathing in. Exhale, pushing away. You might even spread the fingers as though you're pushing your palms into a wall. Turn the palms up, breathe in, take the arms up overhead, and exhale, pushing it down. Maybe even press gently into your feet. Breathing in, lift the arms, the palms. Exhale, pushing away from the body. Spread the fingers. Turn the palms up. Breathe in, send the arms up. And exhale, down through the body, through the feet. We'll do this one more time, your own rhythm. Breathing in. Breathing out, pushing away from the body. Turn the palms up. Breathe in. And exhale, send that downward energy rooted into the earth. Bring the palms back up. Hold here briefly. Notice any sensations in the palms, any lightness or tingling. And now we'll push the arms out to the sides as though the palms pressing into the walls. If this doesn't feel comfortable, you can also take a cactus. And now turn the palms up, reach up overhead, bring the palms together and exhale down to your heart. Hands come down to the knees. We move through a seated cat-cow. Breathe in, drawing forward with the chin slightly up, your tailbone slightly lifted. And as you exhale, you round, you push through the back of the heart, chin can tuck. Moving at your own rhythm, your own pace, breathing in, breathing out. Let the breath guide you, your own rhythm. And now coming back to a tall spine, root down. With the feet, take your left hand onto the side of your chair. We move into a lateral bend, reaching right arm up over to the left. Shoulder and elbow may pull back as your hand comes to the back of the head. If you have the bend in the elbows and it feels okay in the neck and you want to explore, take your gaze towards the right elbow. You may not be directly looking at it, but you're looking in a similar direction. This is a really great way to turn the vagus nerve on that's deeply connected into your eyes, your parasympathetic nervous system. And now if the head is turned upward, bring it back to the center, reach both arms up, palms touch. Exhale, we move over to the other side. Hold the chair with the right hand, reach up and over with the left. You can explore pulling the shoulder and elbow back if you'd like, and it feels right. Maybe you look towards the elbow without straining. So if at any time it just doesn't feel right, you can come out of the posture, out of the practice, and move into a pose that feels right for you. One more breath here. And inhale, both arms up, palms together, down to your heart. Right hand comes to left knee, lengthen your spine, begin to twist to the left. It's up to you how deep you want to go, but I invite you to keep your spine lifting up rather than trying to really deepen into the twist. You'll go much further with the tall posture. And that's what twists our seated twists are really helpful in lengthening your spine, which relieves any compression that you may have. You could look over the back shoulder. And once you find your shape, breathe into it. Notice how breath may change. Keep the twist and take now the gaze over right shoulder and turn the right ear towards the shoulder. And here, you could take the right palm that's holding the knee and open the palm. So now the back of the hand is pressing against the knee and the palm is open. Observing any sensations here from the tips of the fingers up your arm, your shoulder, and then up the side of your neck. And now release, let it go, come back to the center, observe your left side compared to the right side. So we often are checking in, we're noticing how our baseline at the beginning of our practice changes throughout as we move and breathe. We transition to the other side, holding your right knee, beginning to twist towards the right. Gaze can go over back shoulder. How does the breath change here? Keeping the twist in the spine, turning your gaze over the left shoulder. Perhaps the ear begins to come towards the left shoulder. And then if you'd like, turn the left palm open as the back of the hand rests on the right knee. We'll release, come back to the center. Moving through a few more cat-cows. We'll open up the lower part of the body before we start to transition into a more active variation of our practice. The foot may be on the floor, your block, or option to use your strap. Maybe you just hold the back of the thigh. We're going to begin to point and flex the right foot, pointing and flexing. And now as you flex into the foot, see if you can spread your toes apart and now bring them back together. Spread the toes, bring them back together. One more time, spread the toes and back together. Flexing through the foot, keep it active as you move side to side. Here, we are even moving into the hip. Bend at the knee, press the top of your foot down onto the mat. Okay, now from here, we're going to lift the leg up. The foot comes up if at any time you want to bring it down onto your block, that's okay. As we lift the foot up, begin to roll at your ankle and move the toes. Again, you can hold here with your strap, or if it feels more comfortable, hold the back of your thigh. That builds a little bit more heat in your practice. Now go the other direction. Okay. Press into the sole of the foot, tall in the posture. You begin to open the knee to the side. As you open it, if you'd like, you might have a block. I have my bolster here. I'm going to press my foot down, but maintain integrity in the upper body. Rather than relaxing here into the shape, we're building strength. Lifting up through the spine, through the top of your head, and now begin to connect with your breath. Maybe even your left hand comes over the heart, or it opens out. Can you stay here for another 3 breaths? The breath expanding and contracting. Release the left arm if it's out to the side. Bring that knee back. Cross over the left ankle. Open arms wide. So I've dropped my strap. You can also cross here at the ankles. And now we begin to take the left arm over the right, drawing inward. We find an eagle shape. Engage your inner leg lines. Squeeze the legs together. Bring your awareness up towards the shoulders spread apart. You can send breath into this area where we often hold a lot of tension. Okay, now begin to lift up. Open the arms wide, lift your heart up and out. You can also take arms like a cactus. Maybe even look up towards the ceiling and release, let it go, across the legs. With the feet down onto the floor, begin to lift heels up, down, and then toes lifted up. So up and down before we transition to the other side. Okay, now take the left foot out in front. You choose if you want it on a block, the floor, or lifting up with a strap. Pointing and flexing at the foot. And point and flex. Now flex into the foot, spread the toes, bring them back together. It's okay if the toes really aren't spread wide. Even mentally sensing that they're spreading, visualizing that they're spreading can be helpful. One more time, spread and bring them back together. And now we bend at the knee, press the top of the foot down into the mat. Okay, now from here, we're engaging our core muscles. We breathe in, lift your foot up, press through the sole of the foot. Begin to roll the ankle. You can always bring it down to your block or your bolster. Go the opposite direction. Okay, when you're ready, we begin to open knee out to side. You're welcome to place the foot flat on top of something. Maintain the strength and integrity. We're building a lot of heat and balance as well in this shape, so you can make this posture as active as you like. Engage your muscles. Maybe your right hand is over heart or it's opening out. As you hold this shape, breathe into it, expanding and contracting. Okay, lowering the arm, bring that leg up and over the right. You can drop the strap here. Begin to open arms. This time the right arm goes over the left. Gentle hug. Draw inward into your eagle shape. Squeeze the inner leg lines together. You might take your chin inward. Think of this as kind of like, I love the image of a phoenix. It's drawing inward. It's nurturing, nourishing. And now we inhale, we open, let your phoenix fly, big and wide, shoulder blades squeezing together. You may take your gaze up towards the ceiling. And we release, let it go, uncross the legs. Okay. We're going to do just a couple of more movements before we come into more stillness and yen-like posture. So we're going to practice working with a plank, but in the chair. So a variation of a sun salutation. And I'm going to turn this way. Well, I'll turn that way in a moment so you can see. We're going to bring the palms out to the sides. Spread your fingers wide. Your elbows are pressing gently towards the side of the body. And then now notice your shoulders. If the shoulders are coming forward, can you invite them back and down onto the back, much like when we very first started? Spread your fingers wide. And now pushing the hands away from you, you're pushing a little bit into the back of your shoulder blades. It's active, you're pressing through the palms, your elbows are straight, not locked. Okay, now we're bringing back to the center, back towards you. And now we're gonna lift up, much like when you're in a cow variation. So this is our variation of a cobra shape. Your tailbone is slightly lifted. You're lifting your chin. And exhale, release, push back into your plank variation. One more as we move forward, back into the Sphinx or cobra shape. Press through the hands and release, let it go. Notice how the arms feel, your shoulders feel. Okay, bring your hands to the sides or back of chair. Lift up and out with your heart. Maybe your head tilted back, gaze towards the ceiling. And exhale, release. Okay, we're going to move into a more yin-like postures as we move into a bit more relaxation. We're going to come into a variation of child's pose. You can use your bolster on top of the legs. You could wrap your arms around the bolster. So if you have a pillow of any type, you can hug the pillow. You can also spread the knees out to the sides, making space for your bolster pillow and hugging it inward. Now, if you don't have any props like that, you can also cross at your arms. We're looking for a rounding in your mid-thoracic spine. You can draw your head inward. So the forward fold doesn't need to be big and exaggerated. It can be as simple as holding your arms around you. You could also take your head in the hands. We'll be here for about 30 seconds to a minute. And I invite you to slow your breath down a little bit more. Let your exhale become a little bit longer. And do you notice the sensations inside the body? Perhaps your heart beating as it slows down. Maybe you notice the breath in your lower belly. Take a few more breaths here. Okay, now we'll release, come back upright. Give your bolster there, place it to the side. We find a gentle twist to the right, one more time. And your exhale a little bit longer. Release the twist, moving to the other side. You might even briefly close your eyes as you take your gaze inward. Notice how it feels to be here, holding in stillness. release, let it go, and come back to the center. We'll find our final shape, Shavasana, the pose of rest. You can scoot all the way back in your chair. You're welcome to come down to the floor if you'd like. And a great option, if you want to wrap a blanket around you, you can, or even hold the bolster again. Find a comfortable shape. We'll be here for about 4 to 5 minutes. You can come out anytime you like. Once you find the shape, scan through the body again. You might notice that it feels a little bit different than when you first started. Noticing your feet touching the floor, your legs, your pelvis, your hands, arms, the back of the body, your spine, shoulders, neck, the head, the expression on your face. Do you notice the heart beating, the breath slowing down, your whole body? Finding a moment of stillness. And give yourself permission to be here just as you are. Bringing your awareness into the room. Do you notice the sounds around you? Maybe it's quiet. Do you hear the quiet hush of the room? Maybe you hear noises outside the room. Notice the space just outside the body. The temperature of the air. The chair beneath you. The points of contact to the floor with your feet. The points of contact of your pelvis against the chair. Notice your spine, if it's rounding. How are you breathing? Is it slow? When it feels right to come out of this practice, your breath invites you back into your day. It begins to deepen. You might begin to make small movements. Your hands, your fingers, your toes, your head. We'll release this posture. We'll close our session together, placing palms at the heart, drawing inward, and honoring the pause. And give yourself permission to be where you are, just as you are this week. Thank you for letting me guide you in honor of all that we are and all that there is. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, perfect peace to you. Thank you for joining me.